My name is Marcus Gorman. If you want to know more about my monologue, watch this video about the Talking It Out Festival. I first fell in love with theater. I don't even know when. Theater and film have always been a part of my life. My parents both really like the arts. My mom has a degree in film from UCLA, and it's always just been a part of us. The first play I can remember seeing, we were in England just doing a full UK trip, and we saw a production of West Side Story in York, England, and they couldn't really get rid of their York accents, which was kind of fun to see West Side Story done that way. But that's my first memory of true theater. But I grew up going to see like Pickle Family Circus in the Bay Area in California, where I'm originally from, and I felt like I had to be a part of the theater world because it is the way I feel like I can express myself. I love the collaborative aspect of theater. I love that. I love big emotions. A lot of people are not comfortable with emotions, and I say to them, try the arts. It's how we generate empathy for other people. It's how we learn to have morality in a way that is different from, say, politics or religion, which and those themselves have a bit of art and entertainment within them. Everything that is successful about them in getting their message out has some piece of theater in some way. Fell in love with writing. I grew up with a lot of speech impediments. I have a stutter, I have a stammer. Those still come up every once in a while, but I've had enough therapy to be able to get through that. But for a good 15, 20 years of my life, writing was the way I could communicate and people would understand me. I have a way of talking that I'm not able to get a lot of nuance out before people kind of shut me down. And that might be a personal thing. But writing was the one thing I was good at and enjoyed building. Everybody starts off not that great at something. A lot of people, once they fail at something, they choose not to continue. I'm very guilty of that for all the sports I played in Little League as a kid. But writing is the one thing where I felt like I had something to say. I can evolve as a writer. I think I'm good at it, and I think I can take my world around me and learn from them and then put that back into the world in a more condensed manner. The way I create a play, the process of it depends on the play. We are currently talking about a monologue, but the way I write, say, a full length play, I actually try not to outline too much because that gets me stuck in my old ideas. It doesn't allow new ideas to come in and thrive. I do have like a cork board next to me that has like words and names in a general order, but I really try to let the good stuff come out during writing. Um, in the before times, I would just sort of write until I got bored, and then I would pick up the story whenever I felt the muse. But recently, I've learned that to do like 2 hours every weekday morning, just kick out 2 pages every day. They do not have to be good pages. Part of the writing process is getting the nonsense out. You have to edit yourself. I'm also a copy editor, so I'm used to this, but you should edit yourself later. So if you give yourself, like, if you have a free morning and just get 2 pages out, if that takes 30 minutes, that's fine. If it takes 3 hours, that's fine. Just be done before lunch. And then afterwards, you can come in and see what works and what doesn't. And, 75% of it will get cut in the long run. But as long as you just keep sharp, then you're bound to come up with something good that feels personable to you and isn't just stuck in an outline. But that is my own personal way of writing. I heard about the Talking It Out Festival I'm part of the Playwright Submission Helper, which I'm sure a lot of playwrights follow that, and the Dramatists Guild. Every month they put out calls for new projects, for new submission processes. And this is a monologue I actually wrote 6 years ago, so I had to sort of reread it to reacclimate myself to it. But the Talking It Out Festival is about mental health. I'm a proponent of very openly talking about mental health. I luckily had therapy growing up. I used to have math nightmares when I was a kid, so I had to see a shrink for that. I've seen psychologists and psychiatrists. I openly was on anxiety medications for 12 years, and I'm very glad I was on them. I'm no longer on them, but I needed them when I was a teenager, and now I don't. The Talking It Out Festival helps us talk about these things that even a generation ago was seen as gauche to talk about. No, we should talk about mental health. We can solve these crises if we just had empathy for other people. And I think this festival is a way to build that empathy. This story came from, so I am in Seattle. I've been here since 2009, and I like to go on very long walks. Seattle is rainy, but it's not as rainy as people make it out to be. If it's raining, most of the time it's just a drizzle. So on a long walk through Ravenna Park in North Seattle, I stopped at a baseball diamond, and there was this teenage woman who just would not stop talking to me. But after a while, I realized what she's saying is very interesting. This is a perspective on mental health. She clearly needed some kind of help and was running away from it. So I did my best to help her, but also she is in control of her own life, and it is not my job to police that. But I did listen to her. And then her words and her mentality and her perspective stuck with me. And so a couple of years later, there was a local festival called the Seattle Play Series, where each series they talk about a certain neighborhood in the city, and they put out a call for 1X. And so I thought I would use this experience to talk about the homelessness in Seattle and the homeless people on Capitol Hill, which was our arts district, our LGBTQ district, and currently is the newest district of pricing people out of their homes because tech and biotech has risen up, and Capitol Hill is the cool place to be. The monologue is pretty short. It's only 2.5 pages. It is about a 16-year-old outside of a nightclub on Capitol Hill. She is homeless. She has clearly been through some mental stuff, and it is trying to build empathy for this person who Seattle is in the midst of a very large conversation that I'm sure other cities are around the world, that how do we treat the homeless? And a lot of people kind of don't treat them with any respect or empathy. And they say, oh, they're just all on drugs. Oh, they just don't want to be in shelters. Well, no, at best, like 15 to 25% of homelessness is caused by drugs. The rest is a myriad of other things. If you're gay, if you're poor, if you're in this strange neoliberal city that has liberal ideas but is fiscally more conservative, and I wanted to just give a perspective to teen runaways. Say shelters currently are unsafe for a lot of people. They are unsafe for children. They are unsafe for women. They are unsafe for people with medications. And we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's very unsafe for them. So a lot of people say, oh, they shouldn't be on the street. They should go into the shelters. They can't. It is not safe for them. They will get hurt or die. So I keep saying build empathy. But this woman, this teenage woman, the 16-year-old, really opened something up in me, and I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about that. The person bringing my monologue to life, I don't know her at all, but I did look her up, and she appeared on HBO's The Deuce, the David Simon, George Pelicano show, which I recently just watched all of. So I'm very happy that it's somebody who I have seen on such a big thing as HBO. Nothing against the woman in Seattle who did it, Amanda Keogh, I believe her name is, and she was wonderful too. So I'm really interested to see another perspective on this that is outside of Seattle, that is, say, New York based, and I'm excited. I would like the audience to get out of the monologue the idea that we do not know everything, that we just need to listen to people. And there are various reasons why people might be runaways or homeless if they don't have a good support system at home. It's also slightly about deaths in the music industry, but that's a tiny little thing kind of woven in. I want people to understand that just because they are coming from any positions of privilege, there is a way to help people out. I don't know how much I'm helping just by putting it out there, but I hope it encourages somebody to work a soup kitchen or to vote for the proper representatives to put money into solving the problems that cause homelessness instead of criminalizing homelessness and criminalizing poverty. That is not the way to go. It has never really been proven to work. Places like Los Angeles, where I lived for a little bit, say in Santa Monica, which is technically outside of LA's laws, when I was there, they outlawed panhandling, and they thought that would solve the problem. It just moved the problem. Instead of making being poor a crime, Let's figure out what pushed them into poverty in the first place. And I can assure you, through statistics and otherwise, it is not simply they do drugs. For the upcoming Talking It Out festival, I'm looking forward to seeing other perspectives on mental health because I think it's very important to talk about this stuff and not just hide it under the rug. That's how these problems spiral out. And I want to see other perspectives because I've been a West Coaster my whole life. I'm from Berkeley. I went to college in LA, and now I live in Seattle. These are all blue states. They are all neoliberal in some ways or another. Some are better at social issues and others and social programs, but I want to see how people discuss mental health around the country and even outside of it in places where maybe there isn't so much money, or there is a different welfare system, or there is a different shelter system, or from states where they just don't give a crap about any of this. I want to hear from them and I want to learn more. The day I stop learning is the day I die. I want to learn. I want my mistakes to be pointed out to me. And I might find it here, and I'll evolve as a human being and as a writer, and hopefully I can change at least one person's idea, and that will be a good deed that I hope spirals into something bigger and better. But I am, of course, just one person who grew up in relative privilege, and I want to do my best. People should watch the Talking It Out Festival to get more empathy for the world. I keep using that word empathy because it's the right word. I hope they understand where different people are coming from and that we can talk about these things and we don't have to suppress them. You know, if you suppress your emotions, they turn into violence, they turn into other kinds of mental illnesses. All this stuff is treatable in one way or another. And I hope that people get that from the festival. And I hope it continues on in perpetuity. So, or until we solve all the problems, and maybe it can stop, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Theater and Talking It Out Festival needs a community support, not just for the reasons I've discussed before about empathy, but because theater's in a very weird place right now. I mean, people have been saying theater is dying for 4,000 years now, and it's survived all of this stuff. As long as you have an idea and people willing to collaborate with you, or just people willing to watch you do your own thing, that's very important. Switching this into a virtual festival, it sucks that we can't be in the room with these people because being in the room is really how they get you. But virtually, we can expand the reach. And touch as many human beings as possible and hopefully change their minds for the better. If it's not for them, I encourage them to question why that is about themselves. Not everybody has to agree with me. Not everybody has to agree with us. But the important thing is to listen and process it. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. Theater is one of the ways that we can do that. Yes, like voting is the most direct way to change your world, but art and entertainment and stories, that's what changes people's minds. I hope you enjoy the monologue. I hope it inspires something in you to reach out, to give. If you come across a person on the street and they ask for money, don't be an ass about it. I'm sure you have money in your pocket. You say you don't have money in your pocket. I've been guilty of that in the past, and it was a bad thing I used to do. Even $1 helps. Even just a smile helps. That might be a patronizing thing to say, but sometimes they just want to be seen and interacted with to know that they are not invisible in this very strange society we call the United States of America. My name is Marcus Gorman, and I hope you seek out the Talking It Out Festival online, and however you can watch it in your own home, on your phone, on your computer, on your smart TV. Please come. If you enjoyed what we were talking about now, there is more of that.